Hello YouTube, hope you're all good. It's Rabea. It's Sunday afternoon, it's just before 1 PM and this is my attempt at an editless video. I'm just going to press record, talk to you for a bit and then chuck it on YouTube. Basically, I'm really sorry I haven't been on YouTube very much. I've been on tour in America and in the UK. I've been doing the Sounds Like videos with Andertons. I've been doing the audio with Rob and Lee for the videos on Rob's channel. Been doing musicism stuff. I just generally haven't had any time to do anything that I want to do, essentially. Not a problem, because obviously I love doing everything that I'm doing, but basically I just wanted to write some music. So I put up a little video yesterday that you might have seen. It's about 30 seconds long, a little teaser of some solo music that I've been working on. I just wanted to do an EP of music. Doesn't have to be any particular style, although this first tune's come out pretty genty. Yeah, generally speaking, I like rhythm and I like aggressive sounding music, so this is what this is. So yeah, basically I'm doing it all from home. I'm using Logic Pro X, and I've got Superior Drummer for my drum kit, and I'm using a Sansamp Bass Driver DI, which if some of you haven't heard of them before, seriously check them out because they give you great bass tones. The bass guitar I'm using is a Warwick Corvette Pro Line. This is a really old bass actually from my very first band. The guy bought, my old bass player Nick Dixon, he bought himself this Warwick and then he stopped playing bass. Dave, about 6 years later, decided he wanted to buy a Warwick and I was like, I think I know a guy that might have one, so he sold him this. Anyway, this tune is in drop A sharp, so it's using my baritone, which is here. I love this guitar. It's the one that I'm using most of the time when I'm at home because it's great fun, it's a beast and I love it and it's really fun to play. It's got that natural Padauk neck and it's just sick. Anyway, back to the point. So I'm doing this solo EP. And essentially it's just going to be anything that I feel like writing. I don't know how many tracks it's going to be, but as soon as it's out I'll be announcing it. It might be up on iTunes or Spotify or anything like that, I'm not sure yet, I don't really know. But thought I'd show you a bit about what it is I'm doing. So, Logic Pro X, as I said I'm using Superior Drummer for my drum kit, I've got my bass driver for my bass, and then for the guitars I'm using this amazing piece of kit from 2 Notes. If you haven't heard of it before, it's called the Torpedo Live. And it's basically a cab simulator, but it's a little bit more than just a cab simulator. It's like what it does is it takes the load from the amp, so you plug your amp straight in at 8 ohms. It can handle up to 100 watts, and what it allows you to do is essentially it takes a speaker impulse. So there's a collection of different ones you can get, and you can upload them onto it and all that kind of stuff. And what an impulse is, the best way to explain it would be if you wanted to take a frequency sweep of a room. So you put a mic in the middle of the room and then you take a frequency sweep of the whole thing like an oscillation, and it basically measures the impulse response of the room. It allows you to gauge things like reverbs and so on and so forth. That might not be 100% accurate, but I'm pretty sure that that's what it does. So take the same principle with the speaker. I imagine they put a load of different frequencies through a speaker, they record its sort of SPL and its entire movement and everything around the way a speaker works, and they record that impulse. So essentially what happens is your signal from your amp goes into the box, that the load is taken care of on one side, and then it goes from analog to digital, I imagine, and then basically that's where the impulse comes in and creates the sound of the speaker that you want to hear. In my opinion, this is better than doing the whole digital amp modeling thing. Even though they've gotten really good at it, I still can't beat the fact that I'm using a valve amp and I'm driving those valves and it's going into something that's creating a speaker. But the best bit is that I can simulate whereabouts the mic is placed on the speaker using this bit of software. This is essentially the suite, editing suite that you use to make the program. So let me just bring the camera down so you can see what's going on. Right, as you can see, I've got my box, and in this box is my cab. Now this is the cab I've chosen. All my cabs are listed here, and all my mics are listed here, and here is the cab. Now I can move this is actually a preset right now, but what I can do is I can move this mic anywhere in the room and it creates a very, very different sounding tone. and it's just beauty. It's just such a cool little. I mean, the technology that goes into it is a little bit crazy. Let me put you back up here. Yeah, the technology that goes into it is very, very cool, and I'm not quite sure I understand it fully, but either way, it's awesome, and I really enjoy how it comes out for home recording. And I'll be doing an in-depth review of that piece of kit, so don't worry. Anyway, let me show you a little bit of the drums that I'm working on. So, if I go to my mixer window, and I just mute all my... This is just the drum kit. Now this is running through a couple of different mastering plugins. I use like Ozone, an SSL compressor, simulator, and all that kind of stuff. Anyone that knows anything about it. But this is the kind of drum sound I'm going for. Anyway, you get the idea. Nice and big, very punchy. Because it's like sampled drums, what I find is that they're very clinical. So I try and create a livelier sound to the drum kit. So what I'm doing here is I've actually got, because it comes with an ambient mic, so it sounds like this. I love that, it sounds almost real, but that's the drum kit from the ambient mic. But I've actually created my own drum room just to add a little bit more to the snare and the general ambience. It sounds like this. Now that might sound a bit weird to you, but when you start mixing it in like this, it lifts out the snare, so I'll play it again. With it on. So, again, I'm getting into a bit too much detail right now to say it's an editless video, but what I'm saying is you can do a lot with just a little bit of know-how, and what's really cool is that with the Musicism course, Dave's going to be doing a production course where you can learn how to do this kind of stuff using budget rigs. But anyway, let me get on to the guitar tones, because that's why we're all here. So if I select my guitar tracks, so you can hear a little bit of what's wagwaning. If I go like this, let's have a little listen. I must say that all I've got on here is a little bit of sample delay to create a bit of separation between the two takes, and a tiny bit of compression, and that's the kind of tone you can get from this torpedo. So I'm loving that, loving it. And then if I go show you the bass, this is the kind of bass tone we can get. I've actually taken a sort of DI bass, so it's just the general sound from the instrument into the audio interface, and the SansAmp at the same time. So I use the SansAmp for the kind of heavier, distorted sort of tones, and then I EQ and compress a little bit the clean signal to back up the actual note definition. So it should sound a bit like this. By the way, it's in drop A, and these strings are well flappy. So there you go. So now if I think that's a pretty good bass tone considering, and then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to play the guitars, bring in the bass, and then bring in the drums. So, as you can hear, it's unmixed, but I try and get it to sound pretty close to the finished result whilst I'm tracking, just because I like the way it feels. You know, it makes me want to carry on writing. If it sounded all a bit rough, I think it wouldn't be as inspiring to listen to. But yeah, I need to show you this riff because it's one of my. I'm really happy with this riff. Check this riff out. So there you go. That's just a little bit of insight into how I go about recording solo music, and this is the first bit of solo music I've done consciously. I've got loads of random riffs dotted about the hard drive, but to be honest, this is the first time I've gone, I'm going to write some solo music. So, I don't know when it's going to be out. I don't know how long it's going to take me to do because I've got so much else going on, but what I'm saying is this is me announcing there's going to be a solo EP at some point soon. Hopefully before the end of the year, in and amongst Dorje and Tosca and everything else that's going on. But I really would like to share some music that I've created in this room on my own for you all. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.